Woody's Roundup wasn't cancelled. This isn't so much of a theory just because of how confirmed it feels, but if you notice while they're watching the show, they just turn off the tape on its own, they never actually let it finish. And then they explain that the show got cancelled because space stuff got way more popular. But if you just think about it, it really doesn't make much sense at all to cancel what was a really popular show, like, right before the literal last episode. Like, there's no reason to just air that one more episode and then move on, and even if it was experiencing declining ratings, that point still stands. And it basically gets confirmed to where, like, later on in the movie, where they just let the tape play and the You Got a Friend in Me segment starts playing, they never got to that point. It's believed that Stinky Pete just made this up to, like, manipulate Jesse and shit and be more controlling. One World Anthem. So remember that scene with the transition where Buzz is encouraging all the other toys and then the American flag starts waving in the background and the national anthem to said country starts playing, and it transitions into the TV of how, like, programs used to end their scheduling. Yeah, that was always a bit of a silly scene to me. Well, as you could guess, in international releases of the movie, that scene has changed to not have the flag or the national anthem to the United States. Instead, they just have a globe spinning in the background, and what's playing is a unique theme called One World Anthem that actually is composed by Randy Newman. I'm not going to play it because, sadly, I can't really find just, like, an isolated thing of it on its own without it being, like, a part of the scene, and even if I did find that, who knows if I would be, like, allowed to do that, so you can just find it easily on YouTube, though, yourself. But yeah, I actually do prefer this version, just because I feel like it fits with Buzz more and is less awkward and funny. Even if the TV scene doesn't really make as much sense, but still, I feel like everything else is better. Pete ended up enjoying where he went, so you know in the end how he ends up in the backpack of that little girl, and there's the Barbie drawn over her face, and she's like, she's an artist, and he's like, no. Well, it was confirmed a bit afterwards that Pete actually ended up enjoying his place there, which is pretty good considering, as I'll talk about later on, he did not like kids at all, and he just believed that they were, like, units of destruction, and to be fair, he's not wrong in some cases, but this is a much nicer thing in how he got to finally have, like, a happy home and feel good, and I think it's a nice turn of leaf for him and a positive end to that. If you want to count it, like, if it's okay, and you can probably also see it where he's, like, talking to one of the Barbies during the gag reels. The scene is actually not in newer releases of the movie, apparently, because of Pete acting kind of creepy, to put it that way, and some people actually want me to make that, like, a different point on the Iceberg, but I feel like that not only fits with deleted scenes, but this is also, like, an opportunity to talk about it here. Buzz Lightyear game is a scam. This refers to the fact how Rex felt like when he got the guide, how he was like, it almost feels like that you have to buy this to know what to do, and it's even advertised on the cover of the guide itself, like, learn how to defeat Zurg. Like, they purposely made the game a bunch of bullshit, so you would go and buy the guide alongside with it as, like, a scam. And honestly, especially for a licensed game, I would not hold this up to something that they would not do back then with game development. I mean, this is kind of similar to some Echo the Dolphin bullshit, how supposedly they made the game really unfairly hard just for the dumb reason of not wanting some kid to just simply rent it over the weekend and beat it then. But yeah, I feel like it's a pretty another set in stone theory that's basically confirmed. Why doesn't Bullseye talk? So anybody who's probably watched the movie and then thought about it for like 2 seconds probably wondered why. How come every toy that has a mouth or is like a sentient object even just is able to talk, but Bullseye isn't? He just makes nothing noises and acts like a dog, and I mean, Bullseye himself just has, like, swaying intelligence levels, but yeah, it is a really odd thing when you think about it, because, again, just makes no fucking sense when you think about in-universe and out-of-universe and such, and apparently he was supposed to talk at some point, but they changed it because they thought Bullseye would fit with the audience, quote-unquote, better if they just made him not do that and act like a dog instead, and that personally didn't work on me. Like, when I think about the cast of the movie, I just kind of forget that Bullseye's there. Like, I don't care about him much at all because he does nothing. And apparently they did record lines for Bullseye, supposedly, and these are actually considered lost media because they can't be found or seen anywhere. Well, seen here anywhere. But anyway, Bullseye eating. Here's yet another odd thing about Bullseye that's maybe just slightly more obscure, but you remember that scene where they're licking Al's fingers, and yeah, that makes no fucking sense either when you think about it, because why is the toy instinctively wanting to eat? It's a toy, and it tickles Al, and like, that on top of the noises almost implies that Bullseye also has saliva, and yeah, this is just another really odd thing about the character that makes no sense whatsoever. And I mean, I obviously love the movie, as if I've said, and I'm doing this chart, but Bullseye, I just don't think this character was thought through well at all. Utility belt buzz in Cirque Hammer space. So this is referring to how, you know, like, I'm sure you remember, you could probably hear the sound effect in your head as I just say this, but you remember how Sir kept on shooting those, like, yellow balls everywhere? Yeah, he seemed to have an infinite amount of them, like, and where did he get those? He's a small little toy, there's no way he's stacking that many inside there, and same goes for Utility Belt Buzz. Like, he just pulls out, like, a grappling hook and those, like, magnet things to cling to the wall to climb the elevator, like, seemingly out of nowhere, and this is just pointing out how they seem to have some sort of, like, law-breaking hammer space, like, in them somewhere where they can just get whatever they want, whether it be that or an infinite amount of balls. I said infant really weirdly this whole entire time. Infinity and beyond. But yes, that does it for this layer. Next up, we're going to be talking about, like, more super, like, in-depth details that you have to, like, look at the movie, like, an egregious amount of times to start noticing. And yeah, it'll be fun, so I'll see you all then.